Good evening, everyone, to find the new appointment on the MV Calcio channel. First of all, I remind you to consult the www.MilanNews.it website, where you can find all the main news concerning the world of Milan and also all the latest news of the most topical, which is something tactical and much more. Such as the interview you gave a little while ago, right to the microphones of Milano News as a Rossoneri manager Moncada, who has defrocked several topics, which have begun to see renewals, a very dear point for all fans, passing through the purchase, for example, of pasts, on all renders up to then, also other things that concern the current moment and not only of the team. But let's start immediately. I want to talk about the renewals, which evidently the thing that interests you the most. So much here it is more of a thing. On these channels you have already heard, let's say, in recent days, where the underet told you about a negotiation, however well underway, for the renewal of Teo and Andes, with which there should be an agreement close for a figure of about €6 million, to see then, for how many years it will be, but in any case there is already a principle of agreement, and let's say the words. However, in order not to get this Aggie from Moncada, go, if we also have in this sense, because he confirmed, with respect to the news that was already circulating, he confirmed in any case that the negotiation with the player was there and how, so he has already given a first answer. The many doubts that have precisely appeared in the last period, so this is the data of the first point. Then it is obviously the renewal that interests the most. Obviously, the one of Teo Andanzi is missing on purpose, but he also spoke with those of the other renewals, such as, for example, that of Magmignan, and confirmed in any case that he is also being negotiated, and therefore it is not excluded, then, that there may be an renewal, in you puts, even with the other players. So it has demonstration that, in the midst of anyway, these renewals are being worked on, and, as I said before, it is not as Aneltre said that we did not talk about it, on the contrary, so the demonstration that I did not know what to do was absolutely working for these renewals, and therefore here is the first fundamental point, and a house was also the opening of this interview. Then we come to the other points, and here too there is another answer to the many things that have been read, even yesterday, if you will, more about Zlatan Ibrahimovic, because he clarified once again how the Swede is absolutely at the center of the Milanet project, that he is not around. How can they think, other do, who knows, what, or as some journalists write, let's say, of other teams, that we will never understand why they do not devote themselves to someone else, with attention more to their own team, which does not have the red and black one to write poor things of this type, but has clarified, precisely, that it has material, however, videos available relating to the players, videos and statistics, so statistical data available for the Swede, so it is the clear signal that, obviously, the Swede in any case absolutely at the center of the Milanet project and work at the Esterso, yes players, so this is also an answer to the many questions that have been made. However, in the last period, which would see Ibrahimovic completely out of the Milanet world, committed to doing something completely different, compared to what the team's things are on the pitch, so it's clear. We have reminded Tessin, let's never forget that she was in Ibrahimovic. She is not an employee, let's say, of Milan directly, but she is a consultant of Red Board. And so many times people seem to forget this, but this does not mean not working with Milanet and that it was missed to confirm that the Ibrahimovic are doing like this. Then, coming to the other topics covered, there is, of course, that of Reinders, who is one of the players of the moment we want, together with Raffaello and revalued for the last parties, and together above all with Tristan Pulisic, also assigned in the last parties of the American national team, among other things to Perticles apparent. There is also the first player to reach 50 contributions to the goal in the United States, so those players are faster as much as less to do it, so this already makes it clear what the American is made of. It demonstrates once again the great purchase made by the youngest, who we remember, was paid. They are €20 million, so covered Reinders, so figures, Patty Rice, for what are then also the figures of Italians. Here too we take away, we touch on a high point on the reasons, then why it is difficult to invest in the players of the old continent, of our continent. I go to Machiuso, this parenthesis. we get to the speech, let's make it clear about Reinders that Moncada himself has clarified how I was the player he has been following for some time, since the World Cup, going to Argentina and Argentina. And therefore this also makes it clear, while a Milano to the program absolutely the result of what you read so many times around. But above all, it also shows that he is attentive to those who are then the important players of the future. Very often we think that, or if he says that he should only take me players, poor, passes in terms, or in any case players who then lived in a flop. And instead the demonstration that in any case in Milano at work absolutely, and above all also on important markets such as the world ones in the Argentina. Surely this is the demonstration that lacks the malintento and therefore can only improve the future. They can only improve things in the future from this point of view.
Importanti come quelli di un mondiale in Argentina, quindi sicuramente questa è la dimostrazione che c'è il Milan attento e quindi non.
And so this was a bit what? All this 2 days away in age from the Super Spike controls Juventus and the Saturday program, which is a useless match, hides. Yes, there are two fundamental points, evidently, of this challenge that in Milano absolutely all the cards and the rules veto to win it. I say from there is an agreement in Juve, however reworked. That will have to do without many players, and this on the one hand you make responsible, obviously, our team, but from above also shows even more attention if we want that we will have, because no match is easy anyway, especially for how much you play controls Juventus, and therefore it will be important not to underestimate the commitment and cost careful not to make mistakes from this point of view. Also because you still have the game in your eyes, and it is from last season, that of San Siro, where Juventus faked a 0-0 with Locatelli's throats to the theme of a match. Among other things, that even on that occasion it had to be favorable to Milan, which still came from the victory of Calgino in the championship and therefore was very launched, among other things, the leader, at that time the M&M before that match with Juve. So he was very launched, and then, in any case, with a game dominated, if you will, by Milan, but then in the same way also thanks to a Super Cersei who played a sensational game, fined in the first half, so around. He is a player, so it is a team between Juventus that can never be underestimated. So we certainly don't find out today, and therefore, with so many absents, it will certainly be the feel to be torn from there, so it will be important to keep maximum attention for everyone. For the 90 and more minutes, aware that both teams play a lot, but possibly, especially in Milan, even at the last opportunity, if we want to climb back up the standings, or at least to hope for something more than the Simplo's placement. We do not name him, you have understood very well what, but it is normal that you can, in addition, only hope to reach that goal as much as not to equip yourself, for that it was necessary to possibly put them in training a series of victories, which we have not been able to do yet until now. So perhaps that, if we were, I would have started to find the square, and then after that to show that the one in Cagliari is only an empty episode, and not the beginning of a negative moment. It will be important to make the full spoils with Juve. Thank you. I've started following so far. See you at the next video. Bye.
Negativo sarà importante evidentemente fare il bottino pieno con la Juve. Grazie di aver seguito fin qui, appuntamento al prossimo video. Ciao.